So that's really the heart of the universe, is that. It's to connect women to the aspects of the divinity, to the aspects of their feminine nature that can create art in the world. The mother is showing us how any aspect of life can be sanctified. You know, we can go into drama and trauma, you know, which is a very baseline way of interacting, very baseline way of relating. Or we can actually go on the higher timeline where we connect around beauty and uplift each other.
Welcome to this new episode, and today I am here with Sunshine. How are you, Sunshine?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much, Luca. Thank you for inviting me on the show.
That's lovely. So Sunshine is the Creatix of the Divine Yoniverse. So let's get into it. First of all, I'd like to ask you, what is your journey in life?
First thing to know is I am a walk-in. So, which means that I'm actually the second owner of this body. So I won't start the journey from where the body actually was born, but I will start it from the point that I've entered the body to do the mission that we're about to talk about.
Sounds good. So can you explain what is a walk-in again?
Yes, of course. So a walk-in is basically a soul that enters the human body after birth. So it's also known as a soul exchange. So it's when one soul basically makes an agreement with another soul to come in. So another soul can come in through, for example, clinical death, or through a surgery and anesthesia. And then another soul basically comes in and can either coexist with the previous one for some time, or they can swap. In my case, it was both. So the soul actually came in and coexisted for training with the previous soul to learn a little bit about humanity, because I'm new here. And then the other soul left 7 years later. So I was the only person remaining.
Wow, that's fascinating already what you're saying. So first of all, I'd like to ask you, how did it manifest? What was the experience of this walk-in?
So basically, I had a thyroid surgery. I had a thyroid removed. And under anesthesia, the swap happened. So basically, I've entered the body, and I just remember the first time that I opened my eyes in the body, and I didn't know how to speak. I had no use of my vocal cords. So I remember just waking up and feeling this overwhelming compassion for all living things and some inanimate things as well. So which was really, it was literally overwhelming, and I've never experienced being human before that moment.
Do you have any memories from before?
I do. So I come from what is called an Aurora continuum or Aurora dimension. In the numbers, if people like numbers, it's the 17th dimension. And we're basically disembodied, and we're a soul collective. And our function in the multiverse is basically to build grids, to build blueprints, to build, in essence, code or maps on which creation sits in a way, or from which creation stems. We also transport things. So for example, when the souls disincarnate, we are actually a transport system that souls can use to get to other places. So their next destinations.
And how did this manifest with the body's previous life, as in with the family, with the surrounding? I mean, because also you said that the two souls coexisted for a while.
Yes, yes, yes. So actually, wow, this is literally, we can do an entire talk on just this subject, because I feel that there's been quite a lot of curiosity in the field.
For sure.
And since I've met about 30 other beings who've entered in the same way that I did. So it's really a phenomenon that can be, I feel that it's time that we address it, because more and more beings are coming in this way, as in not by birth, but actually as a second owner, because they have a key mission on the planet at this time, like me.
Okay.
So a big part is literally integration. When we first enter the body, it's not like we're given a manual. So it's like, the family basically doesn't know what happened. They're thinking, oh, you're just a being who's gone through a surgery, you're the same person. So in a way, like, the previous person doesn't get a funeral, We don't have a ritual switchover with which the external environment gets to acknowledge that this actually happened. So a lot of the walk-ins that I've met, they kind of struggle in a sense that they have to have conversations with each of the family members if they work their courage up, which I did. Because I literally was like, okay, so I've entered, and there are these beings that are here that kind of know what is happening, and I don't. And so I want an authentic relationship with them, but it's really hard to have an authentic relationship when somebody is thinking you're somebody else. So I traveled to Russia, where the body's family is, and I've introduced myself. I literally spoke the story, I've spoken the kind of what happened, and in fact some have figured it out. The grandfather, who is a scientist, and he was 85 at that point, beautiful, very bright nuclear physicist, and he literally pulled me aside after a week and he said, who are you? The change is so drastic, I don't know what happened to you, but who are you really? And so I was like, okay, I can't lie to you. So I actually told him like what happened, and he's such a bright mind and such an open being, even though he's like a real scientist, a real researcher, And he was like, okay, so I don't know that what you're saying is true, but I also don't know that it's not true. So I'm going to assume that you have a reason for saying this, and how can we help with your mission?
Cool. That's really, really interesting and fascinating what you say, obviously. But now I want to know, what is your mission then?
So the mission is actually twofold. So one part of the mission is I'm here to build literally a women's temple, or temples rather, that would grow on the key points on this planet. And the temple is literally, the intention of the temple is to create a space of remembrance. So it would have a shape of literally a golden boob on a lotus flower, with various fashion pieces, with body products, with perfumes, with fans, with accessories that support feminine remembrance of what womanity, the core of the goddess, really is. And not through talking, but through a non-verbal transmission of the space. So in other words, a being, the space is basically a dimension into which a person can come in, and they can get a transmission of this kind of a feminine logos of what the heart of the goddess is, and that they can touch it within themselves, and they can touch kind of the core of it within the world.
Wow, it's so beautiful. So it's a temple dedicated to womanhood and femininity. And that's the first part. And the second part?
The second part is the alchemical enterprise that is focused around Ormus. In other words, so this is, Ormus has literally been with humanity for over 7,000 years. And it's also known by about 10 different alchemical ancient names.
Manna, I know, because that's the Italian
manna.
biblical name.
So the word manna in Aramaic literally means, what is it? So beings have been really fascinated by the miraculous properties of the Ormus for over 7,000 years. And as you say, Yeshua, Jesus, along with his beloved Mary Magdalene, along with his mother, Mother Mary, all of them have been a part of the Essene mystical school, perhaps you know. And the Essenes have really revered Manna or Ormus or Shemanna, as they called it in Mesopotamia, Sumeria. Firestone as well, it's been known as a starfire. They've literally used this as a fuel for their consciousness elevation for as long as they've existed. Because they knew that Ormus, or also known as white powder gold, it has an ability to interact with our DNA in ways that literally maintain our 12-stranded blueprint. So the current model of our 2-stranded DNA is actually kind of a dumbed-down version. So we're supposed to have 12. And when a person has 12, and it's actually beginning to be seen or energetically sensed with some of the new children who are coming in since 2016. They're known as children of the sun or the diamond children. And these children are coming in with full siddha powers. So they have abilities such as telekinesis, clairsentience, clairaudience, and the environments they require are very different. And then that kind of things are basically due to the activated 12-stranded or 10-stranded DNA template, which the medicine of Ormus, can actually help restore.
What you're saying is really fascinating. It seems indeed that you're very much into mysticism. Is that right? Can you explain to people what is mysticism more from like a general perspective?
Well, it's an interesting question in that we cannot truly explain what mysticism is, because mystery lays beyond the verbal realm. So in a way, we can only use words as road markers, in a way, to point at the mountain, in a way. But the top of the mountain cannot be described with words. We can only give, okay, you go there, and that's one of the ways. You go there, and that's another way. And mysticism is something that we find actually at the core of all the major religions. When we go beyond the distortions, beyond the 2-3 fingers for our baptism, or the detail.
Yes.
If we really go at the core of Christianity, we will find the Essene records, we will find the Nag Hammadi library, we will find the core of the teaching of how we actually commune with Source directly without an intermediate.
The way you explain it is fascinating. I think your usual language is very beautiful as well.
Thank you so
for
much,
me,
Luca.
mysticism in a more mundane way is like a set of different sort of techniques that allow, spiritual connection with the deeper self, the soul. So it's, if you think of, as you said, different religions, one of the most, possibly the most, valuable and an important part of religion are these techniques or these elements that help people transcend and connect with the divine.
Yes.
And that's a beautiful thing. And indeed, you seem to be very passionate, because the way you describe it is very sophisticated, I think. And
thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's really beautiful to actually be in inquiry with you on camera about this, because it really feels that with the current amount of distortion that is present in the field and the purposeful disinformation that is aimed to confuse people about things like gender, about things like how do we actually connect with divinity, people are peddling various sorts of intermediate solutions. Give me the power and I will show you, and it's really, if I were to give a one-sentence answer about what mysticism is, to me, is literally a way to go on tap with divinity. So to cut out the priest, the priestess, the intermediate, and to just recognize ourselves as a part of Source, that connection cannot be cut off, that connection can be nurtured, and that connection can also inform every aspect of our life, which is what endows anything we touch, which is like, for example, a business. A business becomes a sacred enterprise. It's not a busyness. It's a divine creation that is for the grace of the whole, that is not informed by competition, it's rather informed by collaboration and contribution.
Sunshine, there is an aspect of your personality that is very fashionable, that is very, developed in a more theatrical way, if you want, which I love myself. Obviously, the way you dress, it's very curated. I mean, why do you love fashion so much?
Oh, that's such a beautiful, beautiful question, and thank you so much for the kind words. The fashion to me is literally, if we look at how the ancient Japanese geishas were treating this, right? If we look at the word geisha actually did not mean what a lot of people think it meant, which unfortunately, along with many other divine feminine archetypes, that got perverted, into more meaning like a prostitute, But really, the word geisha means artist. Geishas were literally like artists of flow. They were both students of it and performers of it. So they believed that we can live a life as literally an ambassador of flow or a living work of art.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and I really aspire to both being that and creating an environment and vehicle for other beings to tap into that way of being for themselves. So that's really the heart of the universe, is that. It's to connect women to the aspects of the divinity, to the aspects of their feminine nature that can create art in the world.
That's beautiful.
I hope does that answer your question?
Yes. I mean, I was reading Nietzsche recently and other philosophers, and they say maybe the aesthetic part of life, or the arts, the literature, the expression, both in terms of performing arts as well as visual arts, etc., can be maybe the higher path for us human beings. I mean, of course, this is a philosophical conversation. We can argue about it, but certainly having, a sense for fashion and for what is beautiful, it can enrich life very much, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I would have to agree with Nietzsche very much. Nietzsche, you hearing me? He's hearing me. So, yes, I very much feel that us bringing this dimension of beyond the mundane, and it can be anything, and this is something that I really bring through the universal creation, and it's probably not the correct way to say that I bring it through, I allow it, it comes through. It's really, the universe is very much a creation of the mother, if you will, and I feel that I'm just being a flute that is lowering the resistance to that and anchoring the allowance in a way. So it's literally, the mother is showing us how any aspect of life can be sanctified, whether it is a bottle, why not have it a golden one with swirls, something that you pick up, and however small or large is the object that you take out of the universal creation, it transmits the essence of the whole. So in that way, it's a holographic creation, right? With the hologram, if you have the true hologram, if you were to cut it in parts, you would have two identical holograms.
Okay.
So the principle of the hologram is literally, however small of a part we have, even if it's just a few pixels, right? It contains the information about the whole.
Okay, reminds me of the DNA again.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. DNA is a holographic structure as well.
Indeed, indeed. So I think the first time I sort of heard of you, if I didn't meet you in person, was about 3 or 4 years ago when you were doing a fashion show.
Oh.
Yes, I remember that.
At Banjai.
Yes, the Banjai, indeed. My
Did
girlfriend was one of the models there.
Who was
Isabella.
Isabella, right. Oh, Isabella was amazing. I think it was her first fashion show.
Indeed.
It was such an honor to have her. She really, Isabella actually transmitted the energy of the geisha very beautifully.
Very nice. So, and of course, so you mentioned your project, your mission is, of course, you have a physical space that you're looking to create. There is obviously the mystical aspect that we talked about, and there's the fashion aspect too. So you do clothing and different things, right?
Body products as
well.
Literally at this point in the creation, it's a very cool point because it's literally taken 6 years to get the universe to the point she is in now, which is all the aspects of the temple are present. So we have the fashion line, we have the body product line, we have the beautiful alchemical creations portion, and we have the space blueprints as well. So literally the only thing that's missing is land and the actual shell to build this dimension. And at the moment I'm invoking that beings who have funds, who see the potential of this and recognize the benefit of investing in non-mainstream enterprises that actually want to invest into the new platform that, you know, like the word pharaoh, right? The pharaohs, Egyptian pharaohs, it literally means the way we shall become.
Oh, okay.
So this is something that I believe is a way of the future that is one of the parallel timelines where humanity, you know, womankind can go. You know, we can go into drama and trauma, you know, which is a very baseline way of interacting, very baseline way of relating. Or we can actually go on the higher timeline where we connect around beauty and uplift each other. And of course, it's never going to be just, you know, pure, perhaps, you know, there'll be a light and dark both. But we can have an overarching vector, if you will, for the creation.
Sure. It's beautiful, and to have this ideal, you know, indeed, of moving towards the higher aspect of womanhood.
Yes.
And manhood as well?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for bringing that, because I believe that a part of the universe creation, as well as the Ormus, they're both really agreeing, the both creations, in that it is about the balance. It is about the balance, and I just begin it with the kind of angle of the womankind, because it's something that I am more intimately connected to, just in terms of the female form. But we're not independent, right? I mean, there's what in nature can separate the feminine and masculine form, right? It's a dance of polarities that we really have an opportunity, I feel like, to empower by charging up one of the polarities. You know, and it doesn't matter, right? Figure 8 doesn't matter whether a pendulum doesn't care whether you swing it from there or from there, so long as it swings, right?
Yes, sounds beautiful. And of course, I mean, you said that no mainstream or something a little bit more niche if you want. And I mean, I love that, to be honest with you. You know, I'm just going away from the mainstream more and more. And I find it interesting, exciting, creative, fun. And Kopangan possibly is a good place for that, is that right? Why do you like Kopangan?
Oh God, that can be a 2-hour talk, Luca. I mean, genuinely, I feel so blessed to have, and you can feel it. It's just like, that's something I literally cannot contain, is the gratitude for this island. I feel that what you see on camera, you know, if you would have seen me 10 years ago, how I arrived here, you would not have recognized me. I came literally like with a backpack from a 3-year world journey. I looked like a ninja from Star Trek, you know, like Gore-Tex and, you know, black and short hair and not a flower in sight, you know. And I feel that in many ways, I mean, it's really Mama Pangan that has brought this creation that you see here,
It's wonderful.
both this one and Ormus, as well as the Yoniverse, all of these creations are actually birthed by Pangan.
That's lovely, that's lovely. Kopangan indeed is a great place also for the many beautiful goddesses that you find here. Women that are really empowered and very sensual and very, intelligent, like you come across at the same time. That's the beautiful of it, that you can have somebody that is very deep and very smart and also have a fashion, sense and also embody this very strong femininity in a way, right?
Thank you.
Kopangan is the place to experiment with that if you want to, come here and take a look at
That's very true.
the people that we have here, the wonderful people.
And of course, probably the viewers of the show know that we're living on a crystal island, yes? So our, even if we look on the sand on some beaches like Hatien, you look at the sand and it looks like a little gravel. But actually, if you look a little closer, it's rose quartz and it's black tourmaline and it's clear quartz.
Wow.
There are actual waterfalls where we can go and we'll see crystals coming out on the shore. I'm talking big ones, yeah? And it's like, how blessed are we to be able to literally be supported by mountains of crystal. It's cool.
It's super cool. That's why we love the island indeed, and that's possibly why there is this open community, because of the history of the island and maybe the conformation, the nature of it. Who knows?
Very true, very true. I mean, it's another aspect that I'd like to mention if we have a little bit of time.
Sure.
So, the community here, in terms of it's the first time in my life that I truly felt that I belonged. I mean, I've, gone through probably 22 different countries before coming here, literally globe-trotting. And I've never seen I kind of feel like it's a galactic landing pad in a way, where so many beings, there are no accidental people on Pangan. I said it. There are no accidental people on Pangan. If you are here, you're meant to be here. You somehow are a part of the mandala that is meant to be unfolding here.
That includes myself. Woo.
Luca! It not only includes yourself, you're here in the center of the mandala. Look at you weaving us together,
You're too nice.
It's true.
Well, Sunshine, thank you very much for sharing your gifts with us, and I'm sure we're going to have a second interview very soon because there's so much more that you can share. I can really see it and I know it, I feel it.
Oh.
But, thank you very much, okay?
Oh, thank you so much, Luca. I'm going to say a lotus rather than close my hands to you, to end it with openness to the future creation and deep gratitude for this beautiful, very held, very safe, very loving space that you've created.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody who watched our creation, and stay tuned.